speaking of which, right? So last October. No, we're not in October. Hold on, I'm cracking myself up right now because I don't exist in this reality very much. And I'm like, really? Okay. In January, last month, for those whose mind still works, last month, we talked about how you do not have to be on classic Earth reality feeling every, if you go down a bumpy road in a crappy car, you feel every bump, right? If you go on a crappy road in a crappy car, you feel every bump. And at the end of your trip, you're worn out. You can go down a bumpy road in a hovercraft, a car without wheels. A lot of times when Katumi and I are having long conversations, we do it towards the end of the Atlantean era, before things got really screwed up. We had flying cars, basically, and Katumi and I will sit in the flying car and have long conversations. And so interacting on Theos is like that. You stay on Earth, but you're not in the crappy car on the crappy road. The road's still crappy because it's still classic Earth reality, but you're flying in your hovercraft. Come fly in a hovercraft. Time to get serious. All right. This is serious. This is serious. Consciousness never serious. Someone, I had someone I worked with, she was going through something and she told me it's a matter of life and death. And she was so serious. And I just started cracking up. I was like, I can't pretend this is a matter of life and death. It was just so dramatic. It's a matter of life. Oh my God, you're going to see how dorky I am with my laugh. Okay. Back in it. All right. So classic Earth and new Earth, Theos, which we started talking about in Living in the Garden of New Life series. We talked about the creation of Theos. It happened when you were a child, and Katumi goes through it, which is free on our website. Imagine that. So this new Earth called Theos is available to you while being here on Earth with a physical image cast, right? Theos is right here, right now. I guess if you didn't go through the whole Patreon journey with us, if you haven't been with Katumi and I for a long time, we spent a lot of time talking about how to preparing you guys to access the other realms. You don't disconnect from your body. You don't astral travel. You don't have your astral body integrates into the totality of your beingness, into an integrated body of consciousness, as Saint Germain called it in the Crimson Circle language, right? So you don't have your astral body that's a separation to cast yourself out. You do it from here. The safest place to be is in my body of consciousness, in my body. Right? So Theos is right here, right now. And when you are in your consciousness and another being is in an integrated body of consciousness and in the totality of their beingness, when two or more conscious beings gather together, a new Earth is created. That's what it says here. That's being covered up. When two or more conscious beings gather together, right? Without their storylines and their narratives and their limitations, and their DNA is just constantly rewriting itself, and they're in the rhythm of their I am. Right? A new Earth is created. Now, when people came to Mexico, I played with them with this. And as soon as they went back into a storyline, the reality collapsed. Right? I'm not angry at them, right? But I'm sitting here in Theos, and there's another person sitting here, and they're on Theos. And, one woman said, hurry up, we're going to miss the sunset. And it was like, we have to see the sunset. It was just, the energy went, right? La puerta está cerrada. The door closed. The door is closed, right? So then we like went to the beach because we got to see this sunset, and there was no visible sunset. A cloud covered the sunset. And then the reality collapses, right? So you got to be in the totality of your beingness. And a lot of you have been like kind of like holed up in your house and do, right? And it's not all going to happen at once. Was I upset about this? No. Disciplined curiosity. I was fascinated. As soon as she spoke the words out loud and then the reality collapsed, I was able to learn so much from the experience and to really understand how this new earth Theos is created. So when things go wrong or the wave function collapses back into classic earth reality where everything's a particle and has an outcome that you can perceive. So boring. Everything has a perceivable outcome. Horrible reality. All right. Well, I shouldn't say horrible, but no fun at all for a conscious being. For consciousness on Earth, we want to play. We don't want the wave function to collapse. We want the wave to stay open. We don't want it to be in a particle that has only one perceivable outcome, because that's boring, right? So I'm watching the whole thing, right? And Theos is this beautiful reality that I experience right here, right now, in a physicality, right? So once your inner and outer worlds come together, we do a lot. We have so many materials on this. I could just make a list for you, right? The first channel in the Living in the Garden of New Life series, inner and outer worlds merge as one, right? We talk about it in the Magic Mind event, which is free online. Imagine that. When inner and outer worlds merge as one, it's really interesting to see the edges, the edges of one reality to another, right? So if you're around a regular human, who I happen to really love, I've never used the word muggle, because people who use the word muggle are the real muggles. It's like, you guys are, crouching angry old men. Damn muggles, get out of my lawn. Get off my lawn. All right. So when you start to explore the edges of reality and you're next to a human who's having a basic human experience, I don't know if there's such a thing anymore, but let's just say for the sake of story, right? There's two realities overlaid is what I'm really feeling the texture of. I've been painting it. My painting is like, it started with one layer, and then it had a layer of classic earth, and now I'm painting over that, and I'm putting the Theos on top of it. It's just the texture of it, the layers, reading the braille of sensuality. So I could feel the edge of the classic earth reality from that person, and then the overlay of Theos on top of it. However, when two or more conscious beings gather, that little rough edge between the two, as they blend and mold back and forth to one another, it's not an edge anymore. The quality of it changes, right? So when you put the conscious beings together, that edge dissipates, and it almost has like a paper type quality. How you're perceiving reality, the reality is not in a particle form. It's in a wave function. And the conscious being you can experience this with can be an animal in nature. I had this experience with a spotted eagle ray, and with a whale, very, very large whale recently when I was in the ocean, which is where I go every day. For me, it's a lot easier to experience all this and come back and report to you from the ocean, right? So this is my real passion right now, it's like, okay, right? You guys can talk about how the world will be saved on March 22nd, but I'm over here really feeling the texture of the DNA. Texture is our word for the rhythm of further this month. We have one word per month that we look at. Softness was last month. This month is texture, reading the braille of sensuality without needing to perceive it. So in November of 2023, Katumi and I will be inviting people back to the villa in Mexico. And the theme of the event is walking on Theos. And so we're going to really do this. And it's limited to 6 people. One person's already said they're coming. So I guess we have 5 spaces there. And I'm really understanding that just listening to crap online is not the full experience of what I want to show you and what I want you to show yourself, and how these realities work and come together to really have a tangible, touching experience. It's so important for us to be here on Earth right now and not listening to another thing on the computer, right? And talking to each other online. Like, you need to come to the villa to really experience this. So I hope some of you will come, I guess we have 5 spaces left.